Get ready for this. We are going to do some cloning. This is so awesome. I love this about Harmony because it saves so much time and duplicated effort. All right, let's start by cloning the arm. Okay, first I'm going to show you what not to do. If we were to make a peg right now, I'm going to go Ctrl P, and I'm sliding this into the cable by holding Alt. I'll call this arms-MP. I'm also going to make a composite down below, Ctrl H, Alt slide that into there. Call it arms comp. Okay. Don't do this. Copy paste the group. This is a clone, but it's not the kind that you want. Let me show you why. I'm going to add an extra peg in here just so I can move it out of the way. Watch what happens. Because I pressed copy paste, I moved the... What? They changed it. It used to be that if you would rotate that, this one would now rotate too. Also used to be that if you swap this, the other one will swap. Let's see. Yes. Everything swaps at the same time. It's not the behavior you want. But at least the pegs don't do it too. They used to, I think. So we don't want to use copy paste. We want to use something else. I'm going to turn on the reference so I can see the rest of everything. Okay, so instead what we want to do is we want to use this really nice button. I need you to right-click up here in your Node View toolbar to customize it. You want to add a button that is called Clone Drawings Only. Okay, so it should be really close to the top, Clone Drawings Only. You go click on it, bring it up. Okay, and then put it where you want it. Hit apply, hit OK. You click on your group and then you press this, and then you should rename it so it doesn't say _1. You want it to understand what it is. So _clone with a capital C. Plug it in here, add a peg, Ctrl P, Alt slide it into the cable. And now what you want to do is you want to use your tool properties. You're using your transform tool, animate current frame, flip horizontal here in the tool properties. Okay, and then move it a little bit if you need to. I'm using middle mouse and I'm moving it a little bit to the right, a little bit to up and down, so it's in the right place. Okay, so watch what happens. If anybody ever came in here and selected everything and pressed reset, the arm goes back over to where it used to be. That's not ideal because you want people to be able to reset and get back to a usable spot. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to use the static transformation. So you can come into the node library and type static. Alt slide this into the cable between the peg and the group, and then choose bake immediate parent transformations. So watch. It does an X flip, the -1, and then it has that little bit of X and Y movement. Now it looks like it disappeared in the rig. That's because it got flipped over and now the static transformation is flipping it again. So there's two -1 X flips. We're going to delete this peg, and now we've permanently got that arm living over on that side of the body, which is fantastic. Check it out. Both of these hands will have all the same swaps, but they will not swap at the same time. They'll swap independently, and it will save us lots of time. We'll even be able to copy from one side to the other. Let me show you why when we get to the legs. But for now, let's go to the eyes. Okay, we'll go to the eye group, and I want to show you that I like to color the top peg in the hierarchy, and I'll show you why soon. But we'll just make the eye blue. Let's do the same thing we did here. Ctrl H to add a composite. We'll call this the eyes comp. We'll add a peg, Ctrl P, slide it in. We'll call this I's master peg. Set the pivot while we're thinking about it. Doesn't really matter too much where it is as long as it's in a decent spot. We will push our clone drawings only button this time. We will replace the word, replace 1 with clone. We will add, connect it there. We'll add a pivot, or sorry, a peg up above, Ctrl P, attach. And this one we will also flip. Now I want to bring the reference so that it's in front of everything. I want to be able to see through the reference, so I'm going to press Enter to bring in a transparency node. This only works in Harmony 20, otherwise you can just go to the node library and bring up a transparency node. Alt slide that in. By default it has a 50% transparent property. You can change that to whatever you want. I just wanted to see where that highlight is. So now what I need to do is I need to lock this. Lock. That way I can click here and select that. Go over here, and I can choose how to make that happen. I could move it over and just rotate it. It's probably the best way to go. Okay, so now I've got that. And I'm trying to think if I would want to put the static transformation in there to keep that highlight over there. I'm not sure. I'm going to leave it the way it is right now. And I don't need the reference. Okay, so now I've got that. If I had ears on this character, I would do the exact same thing, making this... Oh, I forgot. We want to bring in the static transformation, so I'm just going to press Enter, type static. I'm going to alt slide this into... I'm in the wrong place. I need to be up here. Alt slide this in here, and I'm going to bake the immediate appearance transformation. Delete the I clone. I'll just call this I underscore static. Now people can try to reset stuff and it's not going to do anything bad. So there's the eyes. I think I did forget to set the pivot position for the arms, so I will go do that really quick. And while I'm thinking about it, arm static. Okay. Now I'm going to do something kind of fun. Quite often as you're building a rig, you're going to need to update these groups. Like you'll end up adding something to one, but it doesn't add it automatically to the other. Let me show you why, or what I mean by that. I am going to come here to this selector handle. So let's just say this is arm handle visibility. I'm going to copy these, Ctrl C. Then I'm going to come down to the leg, and I am going to paste it. But I'm not going to regular paste, right? Because then it would make a clone. I'm going to do paste special. Right click, paste special. This time I'm going to say create new columns, and I'll explain to you what that means. Press OK. What it did is it made a duplicate. So it still has the art, but it's independent. It's not going to update and be linked inseparably to that other thing. So I'm going to plug this in here. I'm going to add a little waypoint, Ctrl W. That's the shortcut that I set for it. Just slide this over here so it's out of the way. Okay. Let me show you what create new columns means. In the XSheet view, these are columns. Okay. Really, columns are the same thing as a layer in the timeline. It's just a vertical version of the horizontal timeline. It just means it's creating a new folder in your Toon Boom file directory for you. So you can edit it however you like. So let me show you. I am going to click the eyeball so I can see all of the stuff. I'm going to click this, Ctrl A, select all, move it on down. move it to the top of the leg, because quite often I will want to get to the top of the leg really fast. Overlay, delete this. Color, just something black. I'm going to use the pencil tool, zoom in. No, actually, I'll use the brush tool. Oh, alright, so this is going to be the leg. Select that, flatten it, Ctrl Shift F. Okay, so now I've got a little selector to get to the top of the leg really fast. Now, the other leg group would not have this yet. And so I forgot to do what I wanted to show you. So please forgive me. I am going to cut this out, paste it here. I'm going to rename it. You can even use your little ABC thing with the prefix. I'm going to say remove text arm underscore handle, or just arm. Insert text, leg. Okay. All right, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to do the same kind of thing I was doing earlier with the static transformation and everything. I'll say legs-mp. I'll make it the color. No, I don't need a color here, but I do need to clone this. I need to add a composite, Ctrl H. Just want to hook it up here. And this will be legs comp. And I guess I do need to show my reference. Ctrl P to add a peg, Alt to drag it into the cable. I'm going to flip it using my transform tool, animate current frame. Just make sure it's about where I want it to be. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now enter to bring in a static transformation. Alt drag that into the cable. Bake the immediate parent's transformation, delete the parent, and then rename this as leg static. And then I'm going to call this leg clone. Okay, so now I realize, oh no, I forgot to add one of those little handle selectors, and I wanted to do that. So watch, I'm going to cut this stuff that I already had. I've already made it. And watch, I can go into the leg clone. It truly doesn't matter which one was first, if the leg came first or the leg clone came first. I'm going into leg clone right now. I'm going to paste this here. And I'm going to connect it to the upper leg master peg. I'm going to connect this here. I'm going to press Ctrl W. Oops. Ctrl W to add my waypoint. It's a shortcut that I set for it. Okay. So now, if we're looking at things, this leg is more up to date than the other one. So the leg clone is the newer one. So I want this stuff to also be available in here. So let me just show you what happens. If I were to draw there, whoa, that was on the overlay so it didn't show up. If I were to draw on this swap over here, it's going to show up over here. If I create a brand new swap and then I draw, then that drawing substitution is available. I have numbers 1 and 2, but also this group over here has 1 and 2. Okay, so they both share the same swaps, and if you draw, you adjust one of them, they'll both adjust. Okay, so I just want you to understand what's happening there. So I don't want this drawing, and to delete a drawing, you right click and do drawings, delete selected drawings. I set a shortcut for that, Control Delete. All right, now I'm gonna show this swap. All right, but so as you can see, you can I'm gonna delete this composite that's pointless. You can copy, you see what automatically comes into the group. But if you add new nodes or delete nodes or rearrange the nodes, that doesn't change in the other group. If you rearrange the layering of them, it doesn't change. So this is now up to date. I'm going to clone it. I'm going to call this one leg_previous. And now I'm going to call this one leg_, or just leg. I need it to be named exactly the same thing that the last one used to be named. Now I'm going to hook it up the same way the last one used to be hooked up. And that was turned into a display. We don't need that display. Alright, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to press center on selection in the timeline. And then I'm going to come down here and collapse both of them, and I'm going to copy all of the keyframes from the previous one, Ctrl C, and paste them to the new one, paste special, match by node layer name. The reason you need to do that is if you just simply try to copy and paste them from one to the other, if there's a different number of layers, it won't paste. And so you just need to say, all right, well, as long as you can find the same name as the layers, then just paste on those. So I press OK. Now that copies all the keyframes. You're really going to see this come into play later on when we start posing out the whole 360, because you will have already like keyframed a whole bunch of positions for the leg, and you want to copy those all back before you update it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to delete the leg previous, now that we know everything came across. And, oh, I hooked up the wrong thing. Now you can see that we've got that sitting here. Now, something else that is helpful to do is to color these. So if you ever need to copy stuff from one to the other, it is helpful to have the uppermost layer in the stack colored. So I'm going to make the upper leg color, and there's a few ways you can do that, but I'm going to click on here and make it blue. You can double click this, but I warn you, if you press it once, it does outline mode. If you double click, it goes to change the track color. It gets a little finicky sometimes, so I like to avoid doing that. Okay, so now it could be really easy for me to open up the timeline and copy keyframes from one leg to the other leg, because they're both colored the same, and it's easier to find them amidst the sea of gray and darker gray lines. That'll make more sense as we go. Before we move forward, I do want to do the same thing for the arms. So I'll show you. Check this out. This is really cool. Love using two node views. Okay, so here I'm going to go into the clone, and you can see top arm clone. Here I'm just going to go into the regular arm. Okay, so here's the regular arm. Here's the arm clone. I'm going to zoom out, and you'll notice that they're both exactly the same. If you zoom in on the names are exactly the same. Okay, so remember, you can't have anything named the same as long as they're in the same group. You know, if I tried to copy and paste this, it would put an _1 under it. But when they're in different groups, they can be named the same thing. And the great thing about this is this. I can move the hand, bring it in front, do something like this, adjust that, and now I can go to the master peg of that arm. Let's color it so it's easy to find. Let's color it red. Let's color the other one red. Okay, so now check this out. I'm going to go to peg selection mode. I'm going to click on this little thing, so that selected the topmost thing here. Copy. It's copying all the keyframes and cell swaps. And then I'm going to go find the other arm and just paste. So you can now copy and paste animation from one side of the body to the other. You can draw swaps, they're going to be available on the other side. It's fantastic. I can't make rigs anymore unless I can just clone them, clone the different sides. It is so much more efficient. I just pressed R to reset it. So this guy is now done with the front view. So we got to the front half, and then we've cloned everything. And the next stage is going to be posing this little guy out for the turn. So stay tuned. See you soon.